Hello everyone and welcome back to AFL This Week. This is the series where I bring to you guys the best and the worst of what the AFL has to offer over the course of the week. Now, let's start with what's been happening across Australia this week, and really the only thing that is, noteworthy to talk about is politics. This week, the AFL once again held Gather Round in Adelaide. This is the third time the AFL has done this, and to be fair, it was better than ever. The AFL introduced a new ground at the Barossa Valley, and this was to expand coverage and tourism to the Barossa Valley. I'm pretty sure. This was also a stadium in which my friends and I thought was at a different ground. Unfortunately, this meant that the Adelaide Hills Stadium that was used for the last two Gather Rounds was no longer in use, with what I assumed to be with the temporary seating staying in one place and not having to be moved all over from one side of Adelaide to the other. This allowed the Valley Stadium to have a higher attendance than both games at Norwood. But, one thing caught my eye with the fixtures, and that is the fact that the Lions weren't playing at the Adelaide Oval, but I will get to that a bit later. Gather Round had many stories for each game, but none were as big as Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn. This was a rematch of the incredible semi-final that ended the Hawks season, which had controversy written all over it because of Jack Ginnivan, only to then get even more heated when Ken Hingley had to pay a fine for his actions after that game. Leading into this game, and both sides were on polar opposite form, with Hawthorn sitting on top of the ladder unbeaten, and Port Adelaide coming off of two terrible games which saw them lose to Essendon and St Kilda. Hawthorn, with the nickname the Hollywood Hawk, were expected to win as people read off Port Adelaide, but it was promised to be a good contest. I just hope that it is close throughout the game. During the first half, Port Adelaide absolutely dominated Hawthorn, leading by as much as 71 points midway through the second quarter. Port were just on top of everything, and I was in awe with how they played and were able to stop Hawthorn's attack on the ball. They just shut down every Hawthorn play and caused a lot of errors for them, which then led it into easy points scored for them. During this period, Port fans started doing the airplane celebration because of what was shown on the AFL on Insta. I don't even know why they did that. But after that, Hawthorn took control of the game and started fighting back the margin. This then got to a point where Hawthorn were only 22 points down midway through the last quarter. And I was thinking, geez, Hawthorn could keep their unbeaten streak alive and stay on top of the ladder. Luckily for Port fans, they didn't choke that game, and it wasn't to be for Hawthorn as Port managed to win this game by 30 points. In this game, Tom Cochrane kicked his first career goal in the AFL, and all I have to say is congratulations to him. Port showed Hawthorn a big lesson, and I just hope Port don't play like that next week. And Hawthorn, I think, this game's got a lot of learning curves for them. They just need to dig deep, find out what happened wrong, and improve on that if they want to continue being a top side. Friday night saw the clash between Collingwood and Sydney. Both sides had key players out for this game, so it looked like it was going to be a close game, and both teams were also trying to keep their win streak in Gather Round. And as the first half showed, it definitely would be a very good game. The trend for each quarter was that Collingwood started off strong, for a very close and tight midpoint to the quarter before the Swans took control of the game late in the quarter. Late in the second quarter, an unused rule happened which gifted the Swans a shot on the boundary, only for Hayden McLean to absolutely kick a beauty in Eddie Betts' pocket. The Swans, with probably arguably the more damaged side due to injuries, kept in the game until the third quarter when Collingwood put on the pressure. One of these goals happened because of a Riley Bias turnover, which then saw Beau McCreary kick an absolute piss missile from downtown. And watching the game, the only player that kept the Swans in the game was Isaac Heaney, as he had his best game of the season so far. Unfortunately, he'll probably only get one vote because of Nick Dacos absolutely getting out of the tag role from James Jordan. Unfortunately, only one player couldn't get the Swans over the line, with Collingwood proving to be the far better side, winning by 31 points. Bobby Hill just absolutely dominated the Collingwood forward line, And all I have to say for Sydney is that we need to be better defensively if we want to get back to the grand final. And I am also taking back my comments of what I said about Collingwood at the start of the season. The first Norwood game of Gather Round took place between the Western Bulldogs and the Lions. For some unbeknownst reason, this game was not held at the Adelaide Oval. I'm very surprised, especially considering that Brisbane were in this game, as they were the team that just won the flag last season against the team I support. But Norwood had a very good atmosphere for this game, and it was only ramped up even more by the fact that both sides came out firing. I still can't believe this game had a lower attendance than the Barossa Valley. But during the second quarter, the Dogs had more momentum as they started putting on the pressure and went into the halftime break up by 33 points. This was against the reigning premiers, and they started the next quarter firing, leading by as much as 39 points midway through the third quarter. Surely they wouldn't let this lead slip away. Wait, aren't the Lions the kings of comebacks now? I don't expect them to. Whoa, what the fuck? The Lions managed to overcome this deficit to win the game by 21 points to move to the top of the ladder. Eric Kipwood kicked 5 goals in the second quarter after, get this, only having 1 disposal in the first half. Now what the fuck? The Lions proved why they are the top side and are proving once again that they might go on to win another 3-peat if the league isn't careful. The start of Gather Round was between Adelaide and Geelong on the Thursday night. This game not only was shaping up to be a great contest, but was also the start of an amazing weekend of football across the city of Adelaide. Geelong came into this game with a late withdrawal, and Adelaide were just coming off of a robbery in the Gold Coast. Both sides were hoping to win to stay inside the top 8 after 5 rounds, even though this was supposed to be a neutral game, considering that most teams playing this weekend were not in Adelaide. Unfortunately for Geelong, they had to face up against one of the teams in Adelaide, and this meant that Adelaide would be a dominant force in this game, and the crowd factor as well. This then proved to be a reason why Adelaide started off very well, as the fans being behind them made them get out to a 30-point lead during the second quarter. They were on top of a wasteful Geelong side, and it looked like they would be back in the winner's circle until Geelong started to get the upper hand and give Adelaide their second loss of the season, as they won this game by 19 points in a high-scoring affair. This game was a very good contest, and I do believe the better team won in the game. It's a huge learning curve for Adelaide as well.
The other end, Patrick Dangerfield, he was retarded on the way into that marking contest.
The first game at the Barossa Valley was held between North and Gold Coast. Gold Coast were playing this game in probably the best jersey I have ever seen that is related to a team on the Gold Coast. I still think an inverse would have been a better jersey design, but it is still a very good jersey. Gold Coast were looking to start the season 4-0 for the first time in the club's history, and it really looked like it could happen. They took the lead into halftime and were hoping to stride away from the Roos, only to have them come out firing at the start of the second half, as the Roos took the lead for parts of the third quarter. This, however, spurred on Gold Coast to fight back even harder, as they reclaimed the lead and control of the match and ran away with the game with a 52-point victory. All I have to say is I just hope the Suns bring back that jersey again later this season, because it deserves more than just one game this season. The second Saturday game was between Carlton and West Coast at the same time as North vs Gold Coast. So if anyone was trying to, watch all 9 games of the round, they couldn't. Both sides were sitting at 0-4, and my sanity was on the line because of the bet I made on this game. Carlton were trying to not start the season, losing 5 in a row, and Daniel Gorringe was hoping to not get a tattoo on his right bicep. He wouldn't have to worry about doing anything of the sort, however, as Carlton managed to win their first game of the season by 71 points. West Coast started out well, but unfortunately faded away, leaving Daniel Gorringe delusional for the Blues for the rest of the season. Matt Owies played his first game against his former side, kicking a goal to give himself, pride, I guess. That goal there was absolutely insane with how he scored it. Carlton, if they really want to become a top side for this season, they really need to step up. Now, I do have to apologise that the rest of this video is recorded in a different environment because I'm currently on holidays. So let's get back to the video. The second game held at the Barossa Valley was the clash between Richmond and Fremantle. After last season's performance, it was quite obvious that Richmond wouldn't be playing anywhere near the city of Adelaide. Fremantle were hoping to win 3 in a row, and a good way to do that is a game against Richmond. Unless if you're the Swans, because we seem to lose to them every year, or Carlton. But it didn't seem like it would be a blowout at all for Fremantle's sake, as Richmond brought the fight to Fremantle, being in the lead for a good portion of the first half. Richmond were only down by 10 at halftime, so hopefully they kept themselves in the alpha that come on Richmond. Fremantle won this game by 61 points to move into the top 8 for the first time this season. And I do have to say, Kelly Underwood had some shocking commentary in this game, like usual.
Alex Pearce, still plenty of time for him to get involved in his very first game of AFL footy.
This incident late in the quarter has seen Fremantle player Patrick Voss handed a 3-match ban, which has sparked a bit of controversy online. I do believe he should be suspended, but I don't know if it's for 3 weeks. I mean, well, Heaney's one got 1. I reckon it should be 2 max. The second game at Norwood was the clash between St Kilda and GWS. Both sides leading into this game were sitting 3-1 after 4 games and were ready to progress back into the top 4. Both sides had gather round jerseys, with the Giants wearing their Sydney Derby jersey and St Kilda bringing back a retro design worn over 100 years ago for their first professional match. Both sides started strong, with them both taking the lead in the first quarter. The Giants, however, took control of most of the match, which ultimately ended up with them winning this game by 28 points. A St Kilda resurgence in the last quarter wasn't enough to bring them over the line, even though they kept the Giants goalless in the last. Toby Green kicked 5 goals, and Jesse Hogan continued his 100% accurate goal kicking this season, as he added another 2 goals to his tally for the season. The Giants are starting to become a real threat right now, and it could be a matter of time before they win the flag. I just hope it's after the Swans do, because if they win it before us, I will be a bit pissed, because we've had 4 chances since 2013. In probably the least exciting match of the round, even though it was one of the most watched games at the stadium, it was Melbourne versus Essendon, and I'll be honest, I did not watch a single minute of this game. In this game, it was the first time Essendon will be playing without a red sash in the club's long history, while Melbourne brought back this beautiful retro design. Unfortunately for Melbourne, they played how they used to play in that kit, as they slumped to an 0-5 start, losing to the Bombers by 39 points. Sam Draper took this hanger during the game and was honestly a great performance from the Bombers. They look to be back to their early 2024 form. As for Melbourne, I don't even know what's going on with them. It's just like nothing is even working, and the club's in a lot of turmoil. Something really has to happen with the club, because now they aren't a top side anymore, even though they've got a bunch of top players. Unfortunately, once again, there are no videos for this week, but if you guys want to share any videos on this matter, go and chuck it up on Instagram. Link will be in the description as well, and in the pinned comment. Anyways, that is the end of AFL this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, feel free to drop a like on this video, and of course subscribe to the channel if you are new. It's been an amazing week. I hope everyone's week next week is great. Remember to enjoy yourselves and take care, everyone. Anyways, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Okay, bye.